Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are up dead early on another marvelous Monday. My name is Mark Daniels. I'm flying solo this morning and I am so happy that you're joining us. Here we are, Monday of another week. I believe it's April 25th. It's been such a long weekend. There's been so much going on. Before we kick off, I'd like to send a special happy birthday to Gia Burnside. That is the firstborn of our meteorologist in-house, the brother Godfrey Burnside. 45 years ago, he was driving to the hospital in the middle of the night, speeding down East Street, getting ready to deliver his first baby. So happy birthday. Many more laps around the sun for you. Enjoy your day to the fullest. Here we are. It's Monday. It's been such a busy weekend. Last week, the team from the Counselors Limited was in Eleuthera. If you were anywhere near Rock Sound, you would have seen us, heard us. You would have heard all the fanfare of the Eleuthera Business Outlook. So first, just want to say a congratulations to the team at the Counselors Limited here at Bahamas at Sunrise for putting on another successful Eleuthera Business Outlook. Rock Sound was buzzing, there were events, there was networking, there was socializing, people were enjoying themselves, there was a nice cocktail hour and a day full of lectures and presentations, which has heightened the awareness of what's happening in Eleuthera, the economic potential that is there, and what's to come in the future. Thanks to all the presenters and the sponsors for the Eleuthera Business Outlook. If you missed it, you can always catch some of the clips, and don't you miss the next one. You know, we also had over the weekend, Exuma was very busy. If you were living under a rock, then you might not have known that the Exuma Regatta was going on. And I think Nassau, there was no traffic over the weekend because everybody was in Exuma. As somebody said, Exuma almost sank over the weekend because of all of the people there. Such a wonderful event. I saw the pictures, saw the videos, saw all of the members of Parliament down there, the planning committee, everybody who went down to support the regatta, all of the participants. Congratulations again for another successful event. I think it shows why regatta has now been dubbed, or say sailing has now been dubbed, the national sport of the Bahamas. I think I just want to give a round of applause to whoever made that decision. I think that was a great decision. I think it's going to lead to a wonderful future for our young athletes, our young sailors. It will help to keep the sport alive and revitalize the interest in sailing, not only in the Family Islands and around regatta time, but as a part of our culture, being integral to our culture. So congratulations to that. I look forward to my children learning how to sail one day, right? What else has happened over the weekend? We had Earth Day. Earth Day was on Saturday, so I hope that you got out and took a chance to give back to the earth that has given so much to us. Whether you had a beach cleanup, whether you planted some trees, whether you just went for a stroll in one of our national parks here in New Providence or on the Family Islands, we hope that you enjoyed Earth Day and show the earth how much we love it because it loves us. Despite what it's doing right now, it's really responding to our human influence, the anthropogenic effects, but the earth is here for us and we must take care of it as stewards of our environment. So I hope you enjoyed your Earth Day. I saw the UB Fit was a success. I don't know how many of our viewers would have been out on the road dressed in their blue. You would have been riding, skating, running, walking. Also another successful event. Congratulations to the UB Fit team for planning that successful event. I didn't get a chance to make it to the road. I had some colleagues and a number of friends that made it. And congratulations for staying fit and keeping us active. You know, there's also been a slight downturn over the past couple of days. There's been a lot of murders in the country, which is troublesome. The frequency seems to be increasing. The boldness seems to also be intensifying. And for residents here in the Bahamas, you know, we have there's a term called the shifting baseline. So when you were born or you become aware, your reality is your environment around you. So my parents, their reality might have been, there might have been a little push, a little shove, a little fight in the ring. I heard they used to form a ring around people when they used to fight, a little dust up, and that's the end of it. Nowadays, a simple argument can end in you losing your life or can cause you to hurt someone else or permanently alter the course of your life. We've heard about all the different things that we need to do in our community to really tackle these murders. We've spoken to our men about stepping up and being our brother's keeper. We've spoken to the fathers out there who may not be in their children's lives to provide a positive influence, but I'm also speaking to the women out there, to the mothers, the sisters, the wives, the girlfriends, of those out there who have the propensity to commit these crimes. Sometimes it's just your word that can deter a very violent act. Sometimes they will do anything to defend their mother, their loved one, or someone they perceive as in danger. So we all have a duty to make sure that we tackle this violent crime. It's not just the police's duty. It's not just the teachers in the school's duty. It's not just those in the church. It's the family, it's the village, it's those that live around us. So be our brother's keeper, be our sister's keeper. We really want a better Bahamas for our future, and we got to work together towards that. So let's kick off with our show today. We're so happy that you're joining us. We're going to be talking to Dr. Pinto about vasectomies in our urology care segment. We're also going to discuss the economic impact of a revitalized downtown area in our Economic Pulse segment. Ms. Rodger Outten is here to talk about World Intellectual Property Day, and we're going to take a look at our interview with the Carifta track and field medalist. All this and more, but let's check on weather with Brother Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. Before I get to the weather, I'd like to wish my daughter happy birthday today, my beautiful daughter with me this morning. And so, Gia, happy birthday to you. In your first look at weather at sunrise, we have a weak front boundary just north of Grand Bahama and Abaco. That's going to trigger off some cloudiness and some showers across Lake Abaco and Grand Bahama during the daytime. A trough in the Gulf of Mexico will move east across the islands by afternoon, and that will increase our cloudiness a couple of showers over the islands. High pressure will maintain those light winds over the next several days. But today, variable cloudy with a few scattered showers over the extreme northwest Bahamas. The remaining islands becoming partly sunny and very warm. Your high temperature 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, we're looking at partly cloudy skies with a few nighttime showers. The low temperature going down to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 88 and 76. In Jamaica, 87 and 74. In Trinidad, 85 and 74. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 86 and 70. Across North America, Atlanta 64 and 45. In Boston, 54 and 43. In Miami, 80 and 68. Dallas, Texas, 68 and 59. And Toronto, Canada, 46 and 39. As we go through the week, that front passes through on Thursday. We'll increase our cloudiness, but for the most part, a nice week in store weather-wise. After we have all the clouds tomorrow with some showers, and so the remaining week look partly sunny skies with a slight chance of a couple of showers. Though temperature daytime will be around the mid-80s at nighttime in the lower 70s. That puts a wrap on your first look at the weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. Vasectomies are the subject of many unfounded myths and numerous negative connotations. Here to discuss this with us this morning is our good friend, Dr. Greggory Pinto at Urology Care, Bahamas. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning to the nation, and I always have to say good morning to my daughter, Gia.
Yes, she's always up early. Sounds like
Yes.
she's very productive, right?
She is.
So in the intro, we said, many unfounded myths and numerous negative connotations. Even when I read this morning, I was like, vasectomy. So
Yes.
what exactly is a vasectomy?
So it's the only perfect form of contraceptive. We speak about other forms such as birth control pills or injection. They have numerous side effects, and men and women know that very well. And they could be profound. You can have an increased risk of heart attack, stroke, blood clots. You can develop a pulmonary embolism, which could be fatal. It increases your risk of depression, mood swings, acne, melasma, where you can have dark patches all over your skin. So it can decrease the quality of your wife, your partner's life considerably, and you can be negatively affected. You know about those mood swings. You know about that 20, 25 pound weight gain. And the greatest misconception is that birth control is highly effective. 1% chance of you still having a child if you have birth control.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's so you can't rest, you can't have your peace of mind,
right.
And then to have those terrible side effects on top of that, it's just not worth it. Tubal ligation as well is a very invasive procedure, and you still have that percentage where it's not going to be effective. But when you have a vasectomy, men are going to say, ouch.
There you go,
yes.
Right? And that's it.
It's minimally invasive.
Right.
It's a little keyhole incision. We don't even use a blade or a scalpel. You could do it on your lunch hour. You don't feel a thing.
Yeah.
And for men, the most important thing is your erections are the same. You're still having the same ejaculate. You're going to say the same prowess, the same orgasm. You have the same male virility and everything else. In fact, you probably feel more of a man because you know that there's no way you can have a child by accident. So that gives you that confidence that you don't have to be worried in the back of your mind. And I'm never here to judge, but you never want to get, even your wife, if you have the number of children that you want, and every child is a blessing. Studies have shown that raising a child to 18 can cost up to $233,000
Yes. I heard that
in the U.S.
I heard that
Yes.
quote after I had my fourth child. I was
Yes.
like, oh, why didn't they tell me this earlier?
Yeah.
So who exactly should have a vasectomy? Who
So-
should consider it?
That's your personal choice. So you have to determine, do you want children? Do you want more children? It's not a temporary thing. So you always think of it as permanent, although you can reverse it, particularly in the first 5 years. But you don't go into it thinking, this is just a temporary thing. I'm going to get it reversed in a year or two. Don't have that mindset. So this is a typical family where you go with your wife and you say, you know what, I have 2 kids. Let's give them the best life possible. Let's not have those unexpected changes to our life. Let's not put financial stress and emotional stress on us. Let's just go through with this. And it's the best route that you can take if you want to have full peace of mind that, you know what, you're not going to have that child that is not planned. You always want to plan for things in life. You don't want to have unplanned children.
So speaking for, let's say, the general viewer out there, when you hear about a vasectomy, first of all, you think, ouch.
Yes.
And as you mentioned earlier, you think, oh, well, if I'm unable to have children, then I'm not a man.
Yes.
It's similar to the discussion where a woman may not be able to have a child, and so she's not a woman. Just speak to me about how you've interacted with your patients and just what are some of the typical misconceptions. I know you mentioned earlier.
Well, you're still making sperm. It's just going out to the end of a tube that's being tied off. Sperm is a protein. The body just harmlessly reabsorbs it. So there's no health risk to that.
Right.
You don't have any, it's unfounded myths that you have an increased risk of testicular cancer, or prostate cancer, or dementia. Absolutely.
Right.
It can be done, as I said, minimally invasively in the lunch hour. Not a single blade is going to touch your skin or your scrotum. Even after the procedure, we give a regional local anesthesia, which means you're up and about, pain-free. Doesn't change your life at all. We just say, you know what, don't be very strenuous for the next week. Don't go to the gym, don't run a marathon.
Yep.
But your regular everyday life, even that day, you can be up and about, and you can go back to your marital life that night if you really want.
All right. And so you've said that it is the most effective form of contraception. And there's condoms, you talked about the pill, the shot.
Tubal ligation.
Tubal
Yes.
ligation. What is tubal ligation again?
So that's basically you're tying up the tubes for the female so
Right.
that she can, but that's an invasive
Yes.
surgery
Right.
where you put to sleep and there's recovery and everything else. And that's not even close to being as effective as vasectomy. So you can think of a vasectomy as 100%
Right.
effective, that you have no worries at all. I understand the society very well. You can have your sweetheart come to you and say, you know what? And you can say, no, it wasn't me.
It ain't me.
It ain't
Don't
me.
call my name. See my
Exactly.
certificate, right?
Exactly. If your wife is late a few days for one reason or the other, you know what? You can sleep well and say, you know what?
It ain't that.
It ain't a child. It isn't a child. And that is priceless.
Peace of mind,
That-
right?
That peace of mind. Yes.
So let's say a husband and a wife, they've had a few children, and now they're at the point where shop closed,
Yes.
but maybe not permanently closed. Would it be better for the man to have a vasectomy with the idea of maybe 5-10 years down the line, we would like to have another child, or would tubal ligation or birth control on the woman's side be more effective or be easily reversed?
I mean, we're going to have that full discussion and talk about the pros and the cons. But as I said, when you talk about a vasectomy, have that mindset that this is permanent. Obviously, things change. You can have a divorce. Your spouse can pass away. You as a couple can have your minds changed years later. But don't go into it thinking, let's just do this temporarily and get that reversed. Although, particularly as I mentioned, within the first 5 years, you can reverse it. Going beyond that's a little bit more difficult. You can I have patients who will go and freeze their sperm so that, you know what,
There you go.
that's a backup plan as well.
Can we do that here?
You can? You can.
Okay, that's good to know. Maybe we need to talk about that
Yes.
in another segment. So I'm a man. I say, you know what? we shutting this down. I'm going to get my vasectomy. I go ahead. I go through the procedure, in and out within a lunchtime, no strenuous activity, back to normal. How do you get other men to see this as a viable route for birth control? How do you get that breakthrough?
Well, the most important thing that they think of is they don't want pain. Let's take that out of the equation. There is no pain. They don't want to have their erections affected, and this will not affect their erections at all. In fact, as I said, there's an emotional component to sexual interactions. If you can know with 100% certainty you're not going to have unwanted pregnancy, that makes you feel even more of a man. That makes you feel more carefree, and you can actually enjoy the activity even more. So it won't affect your drive. You'll still have an orgasm in the same way, the same erection, the same power, the same everything else. In fact, in terms of ejaculate, it's essentially the same amount of ejaculate. Right. So it's not as if you're not having any ejaculate. It's the same, except if you go and look under a microscope, you're not going to see the sperm.
That's all right.
Yes.
And that sex isn't going to come with a $230,000 bill somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. That can change your life negatively in a profound way if you have a child that isn't planned for.
Exactly. Well, I'd like to thank you again, Dr. Pinto, for coming on, talking about this subject, vasectomies. I'm sure this isn't a barroom conversation now, but maybe it's one that we should be having around the country.
Very much so.
People get more information and become more informed and more aware, and they can make better decisions. So I thank you again for your time.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
The push-to-talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push-to-talk device. That's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Hi, I'm Ria Christina, and I'm super excited to be the new host of You and Your Money, a local international bank that has actually been closing some of their branches. It actually gives me an opportunity to share my views, my take on the financial matters. Even when we think about what's happening globally, we still have a lot of work to do in terms of having to educate business owners as to the importance, the economic impact, and how it is that we can look at improving the Bahamian economy. $1 billion. That's how much we spend every year importing food in this country. It also gives me an opportunity to have conversations, and that's meaningful conversations with thought leaders within our community, even having to see how it is that we can work together or even the opportunities that may exist for many Bahamians. So I'm excited to be here and looking forward to the great conversations that's to come.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Welcome back. A healthy and vibrant downtown boosts the economic health and quality of life in the community. Can Nassau or New Providence ever have a vibrant city center or downtown? What would that look like? And what benefits and future possibilities could that bring? Here to discuss this with us is Karlos Mackey, Executive Director and President at MoneyMax. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Morning, Mark. Thank you for having me, man. It's always good to be here with you.
Always a pleasure having these discussions with you.
Absolutely.
I always come out feeling so charged and optimistic about the future of the economy. So let's dive right in. Should we aim for a multifunctional downtown? And what are the components of a vibrant downtown experience?
Well, without a multifunctional downtown, you're going to continue to have the same kind of experience that we see now. We drive down certain parts of Bay Street, it literally looks like a ghost town, right? And I don't think that that is what we want. That's not what we want for our visitors. So when you talk about a multifunctional downtown, the big thing that we are missing from our downtown is some kind of residential component and some kind of lodging component that's short term. So what I mean by that, we don't have any real hotel space, Airbnb space in downtown. That's something we have to fix, but we do have to get back to the place where downtown Nassau, the city of Nassau, the proper bounds of Nassau, actually has some real residential component. Without families there, and people don't realize this, families need products and services, not just tourists. And we know that tourist seasons have their ebbs and flows. You have your peaks and your valleys. Having families in the downtown area allows those services and products that are provided to actually continue to be used throughout the year. So you don't end up with a situation where people have essentially feast for 7 or 8 months, and then there's a famine for 4 to 5 months.
Right. Because, as a local resident, I've been downtown as a teenager to go, spelunking and hanging out, catching the bus home from school. But now you really only tend to visit it if, there's Mother's Day coming up, it's anniversary, Valentine's Day, you're doing some shopping at the jewelry store, or maybe just a casual stroll through with some of these in town. Nothing really that attracts you there on a day-to-day basis. There's some things currently happening downtown. You have the Point, Margaritaville, and the Port. What more needs to happen?
Well, I think some of the things that we really have to think about is what will make downtown really vibrant. When you look at other cities that have really vibrant downtowns, you look at a place like Atlanta, and you see that Midtown and all of downtown Atlanta, there's office space, obviously, but then there's, again, residential, right? And the residential isn't actually what we would call extremely luxe. It's affordable, reasonable, and let me not use the word affordable, but I would call it mid-price, right? So you have a lot of young professionals who will go out and they will buy a condo or something like that in Midtown Atlanta, in downtown Atlanta, because it's easy to get to work. And you have so many different things that are popping up. You have restaurants, you have different kinds of activity venues. That is what we have to have happen in downtown Nassau. I don't believe that downtown Nassau as a residential space is going to be necessarily economically accessible for every level of person in society. That's not a realistic thing. But what we don't want is only, again, second homeowners owning the spaces in downtown Nassau. What we need is young professionals, persons that are having families, a couple of kids, who are saying, you know what, at this stage of our lives, for the next 10 years or so, next 15 years, it's okay for us to live in a condo and be able to walk literally right outside our doors and go to a really nice restaurant, go and see maybe a play, do things with our kids that are urban focused, city focused, as opposed to what we normally see now is once you get a kid, you go get a house and you're literally living in the confines of your yard somewhere that's away from everything. That's not what we need if we want downtown to flourish.
Compare for us the economic benefits of a bustling city center versus downtown that shuts down at 5 p.m.
So let's just think about it from the perspective of leakage. If we say that we have 4 or 5 cruise ships that come in, and let's just say that with 5 cruise ships that come in and they start to overnight, that there's 1,000 persons per ship that come off of the boat. If you have 1,000 persons off of 5 ships, right? 5 times 1,000 is 5,000 people. Now let's just say that between dinner and entertainment, $100 is spent. So $500,000 on a daily basis is potentially being lost. If you multiply that out, and let's say that there's 300 good weather days a year, you're talking about, what does that come out to? About 150 million, right?
Right.
So think about $150 million in downtown being utilized. That's now literally, we're just allowing the flee. And think about what that means from a jobs perspective. If you say that it takes literally maybe about what, $20,000 in revenue to employ just what we would call a frontline worker, right? Sustainably employ a frontline worker. Now you multiply that 150 million, right? And you say, okay, for every $1 million in there, you're going to be able to get roughly 5 jobs. So 150 times 5 puts us somewhere around, what's that? Maybe, I think, 750 jobs. So at least 700, and my math may be off this morning because it's early, right? But we're looking at a situation where I actually think it's way more than that.
Right.
We're talking about a situation where you have at least 1,000 jobs, right, that are not being had simply because we're allowing downtown to be a dead spot after hours.
Well, perfect segue into my next question, dead spot. Currently, when you're downtown, you mentioned it earlier that some parts of it feels like a ghost town. And that can be attributed a lot to the derelict buildings and abandoned buildings that are downtown. What effect do these buildings have on the overall feel of downtown, and what needs to be done?
So I think if you take, for instance, a downtown like Miami, right? If you fly to Miami, one of the first things that you notice is while you're flying over, in the area of downtown, there are literally cranes everywhere. And it's been like that now for literally maybe the past 10 years. Just lots and lots of cranes. So the city of Miami has pretty much made a determination, you know what, we're not going to have any what we would call improperly used space. They're handing out permits for construction left, right, and center, right? And we have a situation here where it's an eyesore. You walk past a certain point on Bay Street as you head east, and it really looks as though you've literally kind of walked into a wasteland, right? So I think one of the things that we have to make a determination around is, let's say that we're going to have a redevelopment zone, and within that zone, we're going to say some of this development is going to be for local residential, some of this development is going to be most likely for open purchase foreign residential if need be, and then you're going to have some of this what we will call arts and entertainment, right? I think that you, as a government, it has to come from a public policy perspective, because with all due respect to the landowners, their product is actually hurting the economy. It's hurting the economy. So in the same way that eminent domain comes into play, I think the government has to get to a place where there's a deadline. If you don't do something to improve your property within what is master planned for Bay Street, the reality is that you're going to have that property, you're going to be given a purchase value for that property. The same way that we have done when we wanted to do the highway running from the airport. We have used eminent domain before. I think we're getting to the point where we may have to use eminent domain for the downtown area if, with a master plan, persons within a deadline don't do what they need to do to improve those properties.
Very well said. And, you know, some of the commentary you get from visitors when they come to downtown New Providence is it feels very, when they say touristy, that's a term that makes it seem cliche. You see Gucci and you see these other brands that aren't necessarily Bahamian brands and don't carry that native feel. How do we bring back that native Bahamian feel to downtown that is authentic and not cheesy?
So one of the criticisms that we get both for New Providence and for actually Grand Bahama and Freeport, right, is that when you get to downtown Nassau, when you get to Freeport, they do not feel authentic. There's no real cultural benefit that a tourist would get from there, or there's at least what we would call a lack of diversity of the cultural experiences. One of the things that we have to have happen again, it will take a level of concerted planning. There will need to potentially be some sort of arts district in the downtown redevelopment zone. Similarly, I do think that we're going to have something similar in Freeport. I do not believe that we can do this literally from an ad hoc perspective. yes, entrepreneurs will always be creative, but I think we do have to be intentional. I think that there has to be a master plan around, okay, let's look at what from a traffic flow, from a pedestrian walk flow, even from what we would call economic synergies perspective, what will make sense in this, what we would call redevelopment zone in the downtown Nassau area. And based on that, let's say, okay, here's a residential zone, and it's going to be mixed-use residential, not just a bunch of houses. But if you look in places, again, like Atlanta and Miami, you have restaurants and retail, parking, and then you have residences up high, right? So Nassau may have to look a bit different than we're used to. They're going to be colonial buildings, but they're actually probably going to need to be mid-rise and high-rise buildings as well. And I do think we're going to have to, again, reimagine what we think. But for me, downtown Nassau is probably, if we do it right, going to be the most loved out of all the cruise ports and places that are on the big cruise ship itineraries. If we get it right, it's going to be the most loved and the most trafficked destination that anybody wants to do on a cruise in this region.
Here, I raise my imaginary glass to that, right? Very well said. I look forward to this vision that many of us as Bahamians are looking forward to, a revitalized downtown, one that truly speaks to our culture, one that leaves visitors wanting more and will be an unforgettable experience.
But also allows Bahamians to actually participate in downtown as a part of their living experience.
You hear that? I like that. I like the idea of possibly living downtown. Thank you so much again, Karlos, for coming on the show. We always appreciate your insight, very forward thinking, and I always enjoy these discussions. We can talk.
Thank you, Mark. It's always a pleasure, man.
I appreciate you. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise, and we'll be right back.
Meet Leno, your bridge to the future. Wealth planning, investments, corporate services, trust services, pension administration, fund administration, outsourced accounting, and payroll. When you think of financial solutions, think of Leno. Local or international, company or individual, Leno can help. Our team of skilled professionals has the experience and expertise needed for you to strive. Your goals are our goals and our priority. Leno will guide you to the right financial solution with the knowledge, resources, and support you need. Give us a call at 242-396-3225 or email us at info@lenobahamas.com to get started. Visit our website, www.lenobahamas.com, for more information today. Leno, your bridge to the future.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are up dead early on another marvelous Monday, and we're at the mid-show. So happy that you're sticking with us. My name is Mark Daniels, and I am flying solo this morning. We had a great talk with Dr. Pinto about vasectomies, and men, go and check it out. Don't worry about the noise in the street. It is the 100% most effective way to do contraception. So go and check it out. And I also enjoyed that conversation with Karlos Mackey about a revitalized downtown and the potential there for not only the touristic experience, but for the Bahamians, for us as Bahamians to be a part of it and to benefit from it, both culturally and economically. What do we got coming up next? We're going to be talking with Rodger Outten about the conference happening this week for World Intellectual Property Day. And we're going to take a look back at our interview with the Carifta medalists from the recent track and field event. All that and more, but let's check in on weather with Brother Godfrey Burnside.
This is Weather at Sunrise.
The islands of the Bahamas. Fly away.
Thank you, Mark, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, we have a weak frontal boundary just north of Grandma and Abaco. That's going to trigger off some showers and thunderstorms during the daytime across the island, so you can have available clouds in that area. High pressure still in control with gentle winds, but we have a trough that could move across the islands, moving eastward this afternoon, and that will increase our cloudies and showers over most of the islands in northwest and central Bahamas. In the marine forecast today, winds northeast to east at 10 knots or less, seas 1 to 3 feet on northwest Bahamas, 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet on the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet northwest and central Bahamas, light and variable seas 1 to 3 feet over the southeastern islands. On Wednesday, those winds southeasterly at 15 knots, sea 3 to 5 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, continuing light and variable seas 1 to 3 feet over the southeast Bahamas. Your tides. Currently have a low tide at 5:50 this morning. Next high tide will be 11:51 this morning. Low again this evening at 5:41. Sunset 7:36 this evening. Rises more at 6:37. UV index 7. Your water temperature 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon phase. You're now moving towards the first quarter. Your extended look from the boundary moves through to tomorrow. Increasing cloudiness, some showers with them troughing. Also, high pressure will be the dominant for the remainder of the week. Those temperatures daytime will be in the mid 80s at daytime, at nighttime in the upper 60s to lower 70s. That puts a wrap on your final look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. World Intellectual Property Day is this Wednesday, April 26th, and Outten IP Counsel and Attorneys is hosting a conference under the theme Women and Intellectual Property, Accelerating Innovation and Creativity. Here to tell us more is Rodger Outten, Principal at Outten IP Counsel and Attorneys. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for being up with us dead early. We know it's not easy getting here at this time of the day, but we're so happy that you're here and I get to learn about World IP Day. So what is the purpose of World IP Day?
Sure. World IP Day actually takes place every year around the world, and it really is to create awareness towards, for the purpose of intellectual property. And so what it really does is it raises awareness, promotes awareness of the IP system. Very often we have people in business, we have people in creative industries who are unaware of the protections available, very often at a discounted rate, to protect their creations and their inventions. And so really World IP Day is that opportunity to educate the public and bring them up to speed with what's actually available in the IP system, the intellectual property protection system.
So this conference this year is Women and Intellectual Property, Accelerating Innovation and Creativity. What does this theme mean to you?
Well, what it means to me is it's really a celebration of women in general in terms of what they've been able to contribute to, historically, to innovation and creativity. A woman's perspective is always going to be needed in the room. And so whenever there's an opportunity for them to bring their talents, their specialties, their perspectives to any aspect of creativity or innovation, that is always going to be an added benefit. There's no drawback in having a woman in a room in terms of being able to lend to some aspect of creativity. Very often we think of the classic crash test dummies. I don't know if you remember that.
Yep.
So the biggest problem they had was it fell flat because it was a device that was held to the man's dimensions. And so essentially, if you bring that into, if you're spending billions of dollars and you bring that into the automobile industry and it doesn't protect a female driver, you've lost half the population. There will always be a place for a woman in innovation and creativity. And essentially what this is meant to do is it's meant to raise awareness as to how, over the years, women have really contributed to creation.
I agree 1,000%. You're the seat of creation, but that's a whole other talk there. So what is the work that needs to be done as it relates to intellectual property as a country, and what is the work that Outten IP does?
Sure. Well, in terms of what needs to be done, I think there needs to be a higher rate of awareness in terms of just knowing what's available when it comes to copyrights, patents, trademarks, all the different intellectual property protections that are available to you within the jurisdiction. And then when it comes to actually, some of the legislative reforms and just looking at what needs to be done to take us even further, that's definitely something that will be discussed at this conference. Outten IP is the only boutique, the only IP boutique in the Bahamas currently. And essentially what we do is we focus 99% of our practice is actually on IP-related matters. And so it's obviously something that's quite up my alley and quite something that I'm quite passionate about. Yes. And so really the purpose of this conference is really to better educate creatives in general. I mean, when you think about the different artisans, the artists, the designers, the fashion designers, the creatives, the graphic designers. I mean, you think of so many creatives that we have here that unfortunately may not be availing themselves of the knowledge and the information that they need to protect their work. When you think about, any potential for infringement or any potential for and any type of rights that could be left on the table, what that really translates into is economic loss for our creatives. And so essentially, you can only, to be aware is to be forearmed. And essentially what you need to know is you need to educate yourself. Right. And so that's the purpose of this conference.
Awesome. People would say, oh, imitation is the greatest flattery. No. Give me my things or pay me my money, right?
Exactly. Well, that's what you're in it for, right? Exactly. Essentially. I mean, it's one thing to say I'm a passionate artist, but you don't want to be a starving artist either. No, you need to benefit from your craft.
Those days are done, right?
Those days are done.
So tell us the format of the conference and who will be speaking.
Well, there's a series of educational lectures that will take place, and there will also be a series of interviews. And so what this does is this combines small business enterprises as well, getting perspectives from small business owners as well as creatives and obviously legal practitioners in terms of just delving into some of the issues that come up with IP.
So at the conference, there are going to be some exhibits for people to see?
That's
tell
correct.
us about some of those exhibits.
Well, but there's definitely going to be some Bahamian exhibits. And so that'll include, obviously, the traditional straw vendors and straw market type attire. So those type things will be there as well. But there'll also be some Bahamian arts for us to review, consider, and be refreshed about. There's a Bahamian food as well that will be there as well. So really encouraging everyone to really take advantage of this. Now, there's one thing that I definitely have to say. Registration will close a day before the event. So that's the 25th of April. Registration will close. So please, by all means, if this is of interest to any artisan, any creative out there, fashion designers, anyone that's involved in Junkanoo, if it's something of interest to you, register today.
That's a great plug because I was going to ask, who should attend this event?
Exactly, any type of creative and a business, essentially a business person as well. Right. Because if you're in business and there's an overlap with your business and the creative endeavor, you want to know what protections are out there and how best you can protect yourself in business.
So you mean I could protect my secret stew fish recipe?
You sure can. I'm pretty sure you can.
I don't have to hide it under my mattress on little pieces of paper in different places around the house?
Listen, any product that or service that you are able to customize and make unique to your brand, more often than not, you can protect. And so really this is an invitation to any creative, regardless of your industry, to really take advantage of this.
I love it. Remind us again the venue for the event, the fee for registration, and the time that it's happening.
Sure. The venue is going to be at Margaritaville, and it's going to be on April 26th, and it'll start in the morning. The exhibition hall will open at 8 a.m., and it's a half-day conference. That's the nice thing about it in terms of when it comes to business people who just want to be in and out and tell me what I need to know. And essentially, the registration, the website is eventcreate.com/e/world-IP-day 2023-women. So feel free to register. The registration fee is $50, which is severely discounted for any type of legal advice regarding intellectual property. But that's really the purpose. The purpose is really to promote awareness of the IP system.
Awesome. Looking forward to hearing the outcome of this conference. Many people should benefit from that. This orange economy talk that we always hear about, these are the persons that should be attending. So thank you for your work, and good luck with the conference, and look forward to speaking to you again about World IP Day and how we can continue to change the climate here in the Bahamas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us and being with us on Bahamas at Sunrise. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise, but instead of going to commercial break, we are going to bring back that Carifta interview we had with the medalists and those who participated in the Carifta. And so enjoy this clip, and thank you for joining us.
Well, welcome back. Team Bahamas was extremely impressive at Carifta, winning over 41 medals. We have bronze, silver, and gold medalists in studio with us today. First, we have Jamia Nabi, winner of 2 gold medals in the under-17 girls 100-meter relay, as well as the under-17 girls 200-meter relay, and the silver medalist for the under-17 girls 4x1 relay. We also have Otto Lang, silver medalist in the under-20 boys 110-meter hurdles, Lanesha Lubin, silver medalist, under-20 girls triple jump, Caden Cartwright, gold medalist, under-20 boys javelin, and Adam Musgrove, silver medalist, under-20 boys 4x400-meter relay, as well as bronze medalist in the 200-meter. And of course, we have their coach, Noel Pratt. That was a mouthful. Good morning to you all, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
So, Coach, we had to get security in here today to make room for all the jewelry we have in here. How proud of you are you of these young people?
I am, and I'm sure the whole Bahamas is extremely proud of these young people. They did an exceptional job. I think they went beyond our expectations. The 41 medal count is the largest that we've had since 1985. And so I think they really went out there and they took to heart what the overall coach said to them in the analogy of the lion. You know, the lion is not the smartest in the jungle, he's not the fastest in the jungle, he's not the strongest in the jungle. But when that roar comes out, the reverberation of that echo in the jungle just freezes all the other animals. So they went out there with the heart of the lion, knowing that, hey, we are conquerors. We are champions. You know, it's not anything for us to fear when we go out there. We are to be feared. And we see that that really resonated in their actions and in their performances, and it's just excellent. I can't say anything more about it. It's just excellent.
I love it. Did you have any surprise victories where, you know, maybe you were rooting for the young people, but you didn't actually, you were surprised to discover that they actually won a certain competition?
I wouldn't say that, because all of these athletes have exponential potential. And so we don't put any limiting factors on them. At any given time, at any day, they can achieve the greatest accomplishments, and we are just proud of them.
All right, Lanesha, I'm going to start with you because we talked previously about, you know, how field athletes maybe don't get the same attention as track athletes. So how did it feel to medal in your competition, knowing that you were representing for the field division?
Well, I was very excited when I won my silver medal. It was very encouraging for other field athletes as well, because they don't really pay attention to us as much. And even at Carifta, I feel like they should have came over, like the news reporter should have came over, just like asked the different jumpers and like the throwers as well how their competition was going, like how they did for the runners. But, you know, I'm just happy that I was able to represent the field in a good way, so yeah.
When you think about winning that silver medal, obviously you didn't get to be asked that question in the moment, but when you think back on that experience, what stands out to you?
About winning a silver medal? Well, I'm just really happy that I could win a medal for my country, and that all my training paid off, and I was able to perform in the presence of a crowd so big, and the support of the Bahamians just, you know, pushed me to do my very best. So I'm just grateful altogether.
That's awesome. So Jemiah, we had 2 golds and a silver from you. What was that competition like?
It was really tough because I had 3 events, but actually 4 events to do. And so the soreness was kicking in. I was getting mentally down, but I kept pushing because, like you said, the story of the lion. And it feels great to bring my country medals.
Awesome. Adam, tell us about your silver and bronze win. How were those races for you?
Well, actually, it was 2 bronze and 1 silver. Yeah, but it was an amazing feeling. You know, there's always room for improvement. I feel as if this was the first one where I started to actually see my true potential, you know. So I'm excited to see what's left in the future, but it was pretty exciting, and I'm happy that I walked away with 3 medals. So.
What do you wish people knew about how it feels to compete back to back?
That's a good question. I wish people understood that, you know, we're not just athletes, we're still like teenagers, you know, because there was a lot of noise online, and, you know, it came not only from Bahamians, but from people from other countries, you know, so to be in the middle of a competition and seeing negative comments, as well as positive comments, you know, but negative comments from not only Bahamians, but from people from other countries as well, it sometimes can take a toll on you. And for me, this was one me where I had to, you know, grow up and, like, you know, get thick skin and brush it off. But I just wish that there was a bit more, you know, like, unity, I'd want to say. Because, you know, all of us at Caribbean athletes, and I could remember even in the 100-meter finals going into the race, there was this one guy from Cayman, and he was like, you know, let's show the world of the Caribbean as talented athletes. And I feel as if more people should have that mindset, you know, that we're all like one, and we shouldn't be so against each other.
I love that. Otto, you said that the Bahamas would be the team to beat. How do you feel about your silver medal performance?
Well, it's still surreal, to be honest, because last year around this time, I tore my hamstring, couldn't compete, wasn't able to come out last year at Carifta, Miss World Juniors. And to be here to win a silver medal for the Bahamas and the event I always wanted to dominate in, it's pretty extraordinary, a surreal experience.
And Kaden, what was your competition like in the javelin? How did it feel to nab the gold?
I feel pretty excited about it. I was pretty proud of myself because I knew that I worked really hard for it. Coming into competition, I was pretty excited about the competition because it was different people from different countries coming in, and I knew that it was going to be a tight competition. So I knew that I had to stay focused and try to come on top.
I love it. I'm going to go back to Jemiah, just to find out, you know, while I was watching at home, I heard people kind of comparing you in a good way to Shawnee Miller-Weibo. How does it feel to have people making those kind of contrasts and comparisons?
Well, firstly, she was always my role model from a little girl, and so she was my push to continue doing track. But at the same time, I want to make a name for myself, and I wish people would see that.
How does it feel, just like, as Adam mentioned, you know, you are still a high schooler, you have a social life, you're trying to figure out, you know, college, X, Y, and Z, and you're competing on a global stage, and people all over the world are watching you, and they're commenting on your performance. How do you juggle all of those feelings?
I don't pay mind to the ones that aren't positive, but I did see some people coming at me. Like, a person told me I just have long legs, so I'm barely athletic. But
wow.
At the end of the day, I still got the gold medal, and God helped me push through it. And so if God is for me, who can be against me?
I bet. What have the celebrations been like in your homes? Have you been back to school this week? What do people have to say? And I'm just going to put that out to all of you.
Well, I haven't been back to school as yet, but in regards to just people in general, whenever they would see you and they would, like, recognize you from the games, they would just, you know, give their congratulations. And that's just really encouraging to us athletes that you would recognize us for our accomplishments, because, like, the Bahamian athletes represent the Bahamas, like, all throughout the year. So I'm just happy that people recognize us and, you know, they give us our kudos, you know.
Coach, when you think of the way that our athletes competed this year, you know, what do you think were their strengths, weaknesses, things that we're going to work on for next year?
Well, I think the main thing, the strengths definitely was the mental attitude. You know, they have the training. You know, we have some of the best coaches in the world in the Bahamas, and so they have a good foundational grounding to go from. And so they have the right instructions. Once they continue to pursue things with all of their heart, and with a heart of excellence and a mind of excellence, I think that they will continue to excel, and we will see even greater results from these young people. I think at the end of the day, weaknesses would just be things that are normal to everyone. You know, sometimes you have your good days, your bad days. You have your things, sometimes you're not feeling as well as as you normally would, but that's just human. But outside of that, I think that as long as these young people keep on the trend that they are on, I think that we're going to see great things from them. And I know that the coaching community is behind them, their parents and everyone else is behind them, and with the continued support, I know that, you know, the sky isn't the limit. The sky is just the tip of the iceberg for these young people.
I love it. To each of you, you know, what did it mean to you? We had a substantial crowd. I feel like I heard Junkanoo playing the whole time. What did it mean to you to have so many people out there supporting Team Bahamas?
Well, I was pretty excited, even though I didn't get a big crowd like a lot of people that had a afternoon session. Just knowing my family and friends was there to support me and hearing them in the crowd really pushed me to strive for the best.
Well, for me, as a jumper, I like to get assistance from the crowd. So the fact that I had that support, that just really helped me push beyond my limits and just try my very best to win a medal for my country. And although the competition was very tough and the distances the other athletes were jumping were very intimidated, I just wanted to perform for my country and put on a show for them.
And a show you put on.
It definitely got the adrenaline going. It's like I said, I started to get down in the 4 events, but hearing the crowd roar and call your name, it definitely helps you compete better.
Well, you know, always competing in front of the behemoth crowd is always a thrill, because you go out there, you hear the Junkanoo, it's always the people out there listening to you, they supporting you, all of them there for you. And I feel like that helped me, because in the hurdles, it's really anyone who watches the hurdles. So to have the whole behemoth crowd out there supporting me, it's pretty good. And I was able to come out with a personal best because of that, because I had that behemoth crowd behind me.
I love it. Oh no, you got it, Mike.
Well, for me, no matter what I was feeling, whenever I walked into the stadium, it kind of washed everything away. You know, it was a crazy experience to hear an entire stadium full of people cheer for you. And I said before, it really gave me chills every time I walked into the stadium. So it made every step more intentional, you know, everything more aggressive. And I feel as if the crowd is what mainly allowed me to get a personal best in most of my races. So, yeah.
That is excellent. Team Bahamas, we are so proud of you. We're proud of all of your medals. We hope that you get celebrated all month long, all year long, and that the crowd follows you to Carifta next year. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
What do you want from a cloud solution? You want flexibility and edge? You want to modernize applications with the ability to deliver new ones with lightning speed. You want an infrastructure that's automated, secure, cost-effective, and scalable. You want to give the end user the freedom they want with the control you need. You can't get all that from just any cloud. You need something better. You need Bahamas Cloud. Contact the experts today at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are at the end of another marvelous Monday. We'd like to thank you so much for joining us dead early on this show. It is always our pleasure. Go forth and have a productive week. Tackle those obstacles that are in your way. Leap over those hurdles like our boy Otto Lang and enjoy yourself. And we'll see you on Friday. Have a great week. Yeah. Yeah, you lose Golden, but you know, you run.